What's going on, YouTube? How's it going? How's it going? What is this email? What is this email? New comment. Oh, now live. It let me know that I went live. Welcome to the stream today. Happy Tuesday. We are going to be going through, I'm just going to get straight to it today. So definitely tap that like button on your way in. I know a lot of you guys probably just watched Gisela K's live stream. I figured I'd go live and go through the redacted version of the prosecuting documents in the Richard Allen, or tied to Richard Allen's arrest in the Delphi case. Those have been released. Thank you to Alicia for sending them to me, one of the mods. We're going to read through it today. But for the people watching the re-upload, if you're not watching live, and for the people that are just tuning in right now, I will say the probable cause, just to say right now, I think, because people are going to say it in the chat, I believe the main piece of probable cause that they have tying Richard Allen to the Delphi murders is a spent shell casing from his, what they believe is his weapon, which is this Sig Sauer P226, which is this handgun right here. There was a shell, or I don't know, maybe it was unspent. We're going to go through the entire thing, but I believe it was an unspent shell found in between the bodies, which is like, how did that end up there, right? I mean, very, very strange. So I'm going to say hey to people coming in. I got it over here on the laptop as well. Deanna, hello. Pammy, Tracy, good to see you. Jennifer, good afternoon. Angela, door dashing. Oh, no worries, Angela. Keep up the good work. So yeah, I just want to read through this, but that was I just wanted to say, first of all, I think that's the main piece of probable cause that they have. And it's pretty credible. And it's weird that his defense, Richard Allen's defense, said that it was flimsy evidence. And it's just like, yeah, that's crazy. Unspent but had been chambered. Yeah, I don't know the exact details, but we're going to go into it now. So here is the basically the affidavit. So it's unsealed now. There are redactions, apparently. I have not gone through this. I've only read certain parts of it. So we're going to go through it. Obviously down here is where it really starts. I think this is page 1 of 8, 2 of 8. So yeah, this is kind of where the probable cause affidavit starts. Up here, we can see in the Carroll County, state of Indiana, Richard M. Allen did kill another human being, victim 1, while committing or attempting to commit kidnapping of victim 1. And then same thing here with victim 2. Did kill another human being while committing or attempting to commit kidnapping of victim 2. So I don't know if this is confirming that he was attempting to kidnap them. In my head, or in my mind, always with this case, I always thought he was trying to get them away from there, and then something went south. So I don't know if exactly that's what happened. I see people in the chat. Good to see everyone chatting with one another. Amy, I'm drinking eggnog in one of our cups as we speak. Good to go. Awesome, Amy. But yeah, like I said, I just want to hop into it quickly so people watching the re-upload can go through this document with me. I'm kind of just going to read it. And of course, it's going to be impossible for me to not pause here and there, but I'm going to do my best to just kind of read this and then react to it maybe afterwards, or maybe each page will pause and react. But let's just start with the probable cause affidavit here, where it starts. That on February 14th, 2017, victim 1 and victim 2 were found deceased in the woods approximately 0.2 miles northeast of the Monon High Bridge in Carroll County. Their bodies were located on the north side of the Deer Creek. At the time, the Monon High Bridge Trail was an approximately 1 mile gravel trail terminating at the Monon High Bridge. The Monon High Bridge is an abandoned railroad trestle approximately a quarter mile long, spanning the Deer Creek and Deer Creek Valley on the southeast end of the trail. Approximately 0.7 miles northwest on the trail from the northwestern edge of the Monon High Bridge is the Freedom Bridge, which is a pedestrian bridge spanning State Road 25. Approximately 350 feet west of the Freedom Bridge was a former railroad overpass over Old State Road 25, also known as County Road 300 North. The trail terminates just west of the former railroad overpass. The majority of the trail is a wooded area with a steep embankment on the south side of the trail. The entirety of the trail and the location of the girls' bodies were and are located in Carroll County, Indiana. Through interviews, reviews, and electronic records and review of video at the Hoosier Harvest Store, investigators believe victim 1 and victim 2 were dropped off across from the Mears farm at 1:49 p.m. on February 13th, 2017 by blank. Obviously, I believe that is one of the sisters of Abigail, I believe. The Mears farm is located on the north side of County Road 300 north near an entrance to the trails. A video from victim 2's phone shows that at 2:13 p.m., victim 1 and victim 2 encountered a male subject on the southeast portion of the Monon High Bridge. The male ordered the girls, quote, "guys, down the hill." No witnesses saw them after this time. No outgoing communications were found on victim 2's phone after this time. Their bodies were discovered on February 14th, 2017. The video recovered from victim 2's phone shows victim 1 walking southeast on the Monon High Bridge while a male subject wearing a dark jacket and jeans walks behind her. As the male subject approaches victim 1 and victim 2, one of the victims mentions gun. Near the end of the video, a male is seen and heard telling the girls, "guys, down the hill." The girls then begin to proceed down the hill and the video ends. So we remember this like 40-something second video that we knew that there was way more to the video than just the "guys down the hill" audio. We now know through this that they mentioned the word gun. So victim 1 and victim 2, one of the victims mentions gun. Now, I'm not the only one who's thought this during this entire thing, but it's one of the things that I've thought through all of this is that this guy was trying to get them to, he was probably trying to control them with a weapon of some sort. So we're going to pull up the video now. Here is the actual bridge guy video looping right now. And I've always said that right here, it looks like a gun. I even made a full video on this on my YouTube channel where I zoom in on it and I show the outline of a gun. Not that you would have a gun in your pocket where the barrel is facing your arm, but it does look like this is the gun right here, the actual handle part of the gun. And then this would be the entire, the gun, the actual part of the gun where the bullet comes out of. Guys, I don't know much about guns. I should know more about this. I'm just blanking. The barrel of the gun would be up here, in my opinion. And it kind of almost looks like, I don't know if I can, basically like the gun's facing this way, but a little bit more of an angle, not that way. But you guys see what I'm saying. I've always thought that he had a gun. Let me see what people are saying here real quick, and then we'll keep reading. Also, thanks for tuning in. I know it's Tuesday in the middle of the afternoon, wherever you're at. You may be at work. You may be able to tune in, but I'm hoping that some people will get to see this later on the re-upload that weren't able to catch the live stream, which is good. So definitely tap that like button. Out of the 80 people in here, 20 of you have hit the like button. It helps get the channel out there to more people, so please do that. But yes, they had mentioned a gun, so that's very significant. My belief in this whole thing, like I've said several times, is I believe he was trying to control them using the gun, and that something went south, and obviously we know what happened after that. But I believe that he was trying to kidnap them using the gun as a control mechanism. But anyways, okay, continuing on. Oh no, where'd you guys go? Oh, here you are. Okay, great. I'll read some of your comments in a second. Bella says, I thought that maybe he put the gun in his pocket from inside the jacket. Oh, that's a good point. Thank you. Yeah, well, I'll read more of your guys' comments in a second. I want to get through this. The girls then begin to proceed down the hill, and the video ends. The girls, a still photograph was taken from the video, and the guys down the hill audio was subsequently released to the public to assist investigators in identifying the male. Victim 1 and victim 2's deaths were ruled as homicides. Clothes were found in the Deer Creek belonging to victim 1 and victim 2, south of where their bodies were located. There was also a .45 caliber unspent round less than 2 feet away from victim 2's body, between victim 1 and victim 2's body. The round was unspent and had extraction marks on it. Interviews were conducted with 3 juveniles. They redacted the names. They advised that they were on the Monon High Bridge Trail on February 13th. They advised that they were walking on the trail toward Freedom Bridge to go home when they encountered a male walking from Freedom Bridge. Sorry, one second. Okay, I'm getting work stuff. Freedom Bridge toward the Monon High Bridge. Described. Sorry. Skipping ahead. They advised he was walking, home when they encountered a male walking from Freedom Bridge toward the Monon High Bridge. Blank described the male as, quote, kind of creepy, and advised he was wearing blue jeans, like really light blue jacket, and his hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face. She advised the jacket was a duck canvas type jacket. Advised she said hi to the male, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. She described him as not very tall, with a bigger build. She said he was not bigger than 5'10". Advised he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She stated he had his hands in his pockets. Blank showed investigators photographs she took on her phone while she was on the trail that day. The photographs included a photo of the Monon High Bridge taken at 12:43 p.m. and another one taken at 1:26 p.m. of the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. Blank advised after she took the photo of the bench, they started walking back toward Freedom Bridge. She advised that was when they encountered the man who matched the description of the photograph taken from victim 2's video. Blank described the man she had encountered on the trail as wearing a blue or black windbreaker jacket. She advised the jacket had a collar and he had his hood up from the clothing underneath his jacket. She advised he was wearing baggy jeans and was taller than her. That's lining up right now with Bridge Guy in the video. She advised her head came up to the approximately his shoulder. She advised Blank said hi to the man and that he said nothing back. She stated he was walking with a purpose, like he knew where he was going. She stated he had his hands in his pockets and kept his head down. She advised she did not get a good look at his face, but believed him to be a white male. The girls advised after encountering the male, they continued their walk across Freedom Bridge and the old railroad bridge over Old State Road 25. Okay, pausing there for a moment. These are witnesses that were there that day. One of them, at least, was a female. The names are obviously redacted from this document. Imagine what these people feel like now, knowing that they likely walked by the guy that did this. Obviously, hindsight, it's one of those things where now they probably just like, holy cow, imagine if we got tied up in that, or they witnessed it going down. Like, imagine they came up on the scene happening. I mean, they could have very well been involved and had to have been dealt with as well. That is crazy. Oh my goodness. Investigators spoke with Blank, who advised she was on the trails on February 13th, 2017. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store captured Blank vehicle traveling eastbound at 1:46 p.m. toward the entrance across from the Mears farm. Blank advised she saw 4 juvenile females walking on the bridge over Old State Road 25 as she was driving underneath on her way to park. Blank advised there were no other cars parked across from the Mears farm when she parked. She advised she walked to the Monon High Bridge and observed a male matching. You know what? This might be kind of nice to go through this. Matching one of the victim 2's videos. She described the male she saw as a white male wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. She advised he was standing on the first platform of the Monon High Bridge, approximately 50 feet from her. She advised she turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. She advised approximately halfway between the bridge and the parking area across from Mears farm, she passed 2 girls walking toward Monon High Bridge. She advised she believed the girls were victim 1 and victim 2. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store shows at 1:49 p.m. a white car matching vehicle traveling away from the entrance across from the Mears farm. Blank advised she finished her walk and saw no other adults other than the male on the bridge. Her vehicle is seen on Hoosier Harvest Store video at 2:14 p.m. leaving westbound from the trails. Blank advised when she was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protective Services building. She said it was not odd for vehicles to be parked there, but she noticed it was odd because of the manner it was parked, backed in near the building. Okay, so this is where we're going to stop for a moment as well, because I'm very curious where that's at. The Child Protective Services. We're going to go into the maps real quick. We're pausing. We're on page 2 or 3 of 8. We're on page 3 of 8, about to start page 4. So we're halfway through this. I see some people joining in late. Ray, good to see you. Nella, this document is fantastic. Yeah, it's crazy. I was talking with somebody earlier. I was talking with Alicia, actually, one of the mods earlier, saying how it's crazy to think like we're reading through like real details with this case, and it almost doesn't seem real. Like it almost doesn't seem like, obviously it's real, but it's just like crazy to think that these are legitimate details surrounding this case, and it's just like it doesn't seem like this is actually real. Crazy. Okay, so let me look for this Child Protective Services in Delphi. Bonkers. Yeah, exactly. That's not the building that she's talking to, right? Carroll County Child Support? No, not Child Support. Where would this have been? Monon High Bridge. So she's speaking about this area here. If someone could confirm, I think she's talking about, oh geez, that's not good. Okay, I'm just going to keep going. We'll get into the maps in a second, but I'm just wondering, where she's specifically talking about with this. I've always, I had it in my head like, oh, this guy may have parked in the cemetery. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. But if he just parked, if like backed into some, there's the Hoosier Harvest Store. So did he park near where they were dropped off? I don't know. Okay. Anyways, sorry, I'm kind of going on tangents here. I said I wanted to read through this quickly, and then we can go through and talk about it. Odd that he would take a gun with him on a hike in Delphi. Yeah, it's crazy, Red Pants. He admitted to officers early on in the case that he was there. And it's like, so what were you doing there? Why did an unspent casing end up in between two of the victims in the case? Like, it doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for that at all. Okay, sorry. Back to it. Investigators received a tip from Blank in which he stated he was on his way to Delphi on State Road 25 around 2:10 p.m. on February 13th, 2017. He observed a purple PT Cruiser, or a small SUV-type vehicle, parked on the south side of the old CPS building. He stated it appeared as though it was backed in as to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. Blank both drew diagrams of where they saw the vehicle parked, and their diagrams generally matched as to the area the vehicle was parked and the manner in which it was parked. Blank advised he remembered seeing a smaller dark-colored car parked at the old CPS building. He described it as possibly being a smart car. Blank's vehicle is seen leaving at 2:28 p.m. on the Hoosier Harvest Store video. So these are all lining up. Everything's lining up. Investigators spoke with Blank, who stated that she was traveling east on 300 North on February 13th, 2022, and observed a male subject walking... Wait. Investigators spoke with Blank, who stated she was traveling east on February 13th, 2022, and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North, away from the Monon High Bridge. Blank advised that the male subject was wearing a blue collared jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. Wait. On February 13th, 2022? Or did this person speak with law enforcement on February 13th, 2022? Advised that the male was wearing a blue jacket, blue jeans, was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine from watching the video from the Hoosier Harvest Store that Blank was traveling on CR North, 300 North at approximately 3:57. Nina says, I think the date is a typo. Okay, that could be a typo. Yeah, that's a typo. Because that's like the exact day. It's like, no. I think they meant to say 2017 there. Thank you. Through interviews, electronics data, photographs, and video from the Hoosier Harvest Store, investigators determined that there were other people on the trail that day after 2:13 p.m. Those people were Blank. Were interviewed, and none of those individuals encountered the male subject referenced above, witnessed by the juvenile girls, Blank and Blank. Furthermore, none of those individuals witnessed victim 1 and victim 2. I want to know so badly who else was on those trails. I mean, obviously, their names are protected, but like, who is that? Who else was on those trails that day? And I know that last week, or on the 22nd, they had said basically they don't know that Richard Allen acted alone. Some people are saying now, at least I read on Twitter, that may not be the case now, that it does seem like he was acting alone. We still have a couple pages to read here. Anyways, what are you guys thinking so far? Thank you guys for being here again. I know I'm kind of just buzzing through this quickly, but I also have some more work to get done later today, so I figured I'd hop on and just read through this. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. 48 people in here have. So thank you to those who have tapped that like button. Okay, continuing on, and then we will talk about it and chat about it. Investigators reviewing prior tips encountered a tip narrative from an officer who interviewed Richard Allen in 2017. The narrative stated, Mr. Allen was on the trail between 13:30 and 15:30. He parked at the Old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 families. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. What? So he just, checking his stocks and walking on the bridge just casually the same day that all this happened, but he didn't talk. I don't know. He stated that there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trail head, however, did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or video. His cell phone did not list an IMEI, but did have the following. MEID, okay, this is his MEID number that's tied to his phone. So electronic data would probably put him exactly where he said he was. If you guys are familiar, he did come forward early on in the case and basically say that he was there. Coffee Buzz, good to see you. Hi. I'm going to be going into the chat here soon once we get through this. A couple more pages here. Who were the 3 girls walking in the area of the Freedom Bridge? Potential follow-up information. Okay, investigators believe Mr. Allen was referring to the former Child Protective Services building, as there was not a Farm Bureau building in the area, nor had there been. Investigators believe the families he saw, there's a few typos in here, included blank and blank due to the time they were leaving the trail, the time he reported getting to the trail, and the descriptions the 3 families gave. Investigators discovered Richard Allen owned 2 vehicles in 2017, a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Investigators observed a vehicle that resembled Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the Hoosier Harvest Store video at 1:27 p.m. traveling westbound on CR 300 North in front of the Hoosier Harvest Store, which coincided with his statement that he arrived around 1:30 p.m. at the trails. Investigators note witnesses described the vehicle parked at the former Child Protective Services building as a PT Cruiser, small SUV, or smart car. Investigators believe those descriptions are similar in nature to a 2016 Ford Focus. I'm not going to look up a Ford Focus right now, but I can see where they maybe assumed that the 2016 Ford Focus was a smart car. Kind of a small, boxy, not boxy, but almost like a Prius-y type car shape. On October 13th, 2022, Richard Allen was interviewed again by investigators. He advised he was on the trails on February 13th. He stated he saw juvenile girls on the trails east of the Freedom Bridge and that he went onto the Monon High Bridge. Richard Allen further stated he went out onto the Monon High Bridge to watch the fish, but he was looking at his stocks the whole time and didn't look at any of the other families. Okay. And he apparently took his gun as well. Later in the statement, he said he walked out to the first platform on the bridge. He stated he then walked back, sat on a bench on the trail, and then left. He stated that he parked his car on the side of an old building. He told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood. Sorry if I don't know what that is. Joyce, good to see you. Good to see you. JDR, good to see you. He advised he may have been wearing some type of head covering as well. He further claimed he saw no one else except for the juvenile girls he saw east of the Freedom Bridge. He told investigators that he owns firearms and they are at his home. Richard M. Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, also spoke to investigators. She confirmed that Richard did have guns and knives at the residence. She also stated that Richard owns a blue jacket. On October 13th, 2022, investigators executed a search warrant of Richard Allen's residence at 1967 North Whitman Drive, Carroll County, Indiana. Among other items, officers located jackets, boots, knives, firearms, including a Sig Sauer model P226 .40 caliber pistol with the serial number U625627. Between October 14th, 2022 and October 19th, 2022, Indiana State Police Laboratory performed an analysis on Allen's Sig Sauer model P226. The laboratory performed a physical examination and classification of the firearm, function tests, barrel and overall length measurement, test firing, ammunition, component characterizations, microscopic comparisons, and NIBIN. The laboratory determined the unspent round located within 2 feet of victim 2's body had been cycled through Richard M. Allen's Sig Sauer P model 226. Once again, guys, this is the probable cause. This is the largest, I imagine, the largest bit of probable cause coming from this is that they determined through all of this testing that they just did recently, back in October, that an unspent round had cycled through, meaning it had gone through his gun, and was laying in between the bodies near victim 2. The laboratory remarked, an identification opinion is reached when the evidence exhibits an agreement of class characteristics and a sufficient agreement of individual marks. Sufficient agreement is related to the significant duplication of random striated impressed marks as evidenced by the correspondence of a pattern or combination of patterns or surface contours. The interpretation of identification is subjective in nature and based on relevant scientific research and the reporting examiner's training and experience. This is a lot. This is a mouthful, but I want to get through this. Investigators then ran the firearm and found that the firearm was purchased by Richard Allen in 2001. Richard Allen voluntarily came to the Indiana State Police Post on October 26, 2022. He spoke with investigators and stated that he never allowed anyone to use or borrow the Sig Sauer firearm. When asked about the unspent bullet, he did not have an explanation of why the bullet was found between the bodies of victim 1 and victim 2. He again admitted that he was on the trail but denied knowing victim 1 or victim 2 and denied any involvement in their murders. Guys, how would I imagine, okay, I don't know if this is the case, but what if he didn't realize that bullet had gone through? I don't know how this works, guys. I don't know much about guns. I don't know how a bullet could be cycled through his weapon without it being fired. I don't know enough about weapons. What if all of this took place and Richard Allen had not realized that that bullet had been dropped? Maybe it came out somehow in whatever was going on. He probably was crapping himself during these investigations, these interrogations, because there's no explanation, right? There's no explanation as to why that would be there. Also, guys, I don't know if you enjoy watching the videos of police interrogations. I find them completely fascinating. I imagine at some point in the future, we are going to be able to watch the video of Richard Allen voluntarily going to Indiana State Police for those interrogations, those interviews. And I cannot wait to see I just hope that the look on his face is high enough quality, because some of those videos in those interrogation rooms are really bad. But I hope he turns as white as a ghost when they offer up this information of having an unspent bullet next to their two victims. Oh my gosh. And for him just to deny it. I mean, what if in some world, what if he was, someone was trying to put the blame on Richard Allen? Like, do I believe that that's the case at all? No, probably not. But like, oh my gosh, how crazy would that be if you're like, I was there, but like, I didn't do it. Anyways, I have no reason to believe that at this point. Obviously, you're innocent until proven guilty, but there is, that's crazy. That is crazy. Carroll County Sheriff's Department Detective Blank has been a part of the investigation since it started in 2017. He had an opportunity to review and examine evidence gathered in this investigation. Detective Blank, along with other investigators, believe the evidence gathered shows that Richard Allen is the male subject seen on the video from victim 2's phone who forced the victims down the hill. Further, that the victims were forced down the hill by Richard Allen and led to the location where they were murdered. Through the statements and photographs of the juvenile females and statement of Blank were at the southeast edge of the trail at 12:43 p.m., east of the Freedom Bridge at 1:26 p.m., and walked across the former railroad overpass over Old State Road 25 after 1:26 p.m. and before 1:46 p.m. They walked the entirety of the trail and observed only one person, an adult male. Blank vehicle is seen. I don't know if they're saying the vehicle there. It's redacted. Vehicle seen on Hoosier Harvest Store video at 1:46 p.m. and leaving at 2:14 p.m. And she stated she only saw one adult male. Guys, how did it take this long? Now I'm wondering if they had all of this video surveillance, this data, these witness reports, these timelines. Something went wrong here, I feel like. Also, for Richard to be one of the primary people to come forward stating he was actually there, and then if they had all this other information that are tied to actual cars that he owned, or at least similar from these witness testimonies of these types of cars, why? I'm kind of wondering, why did it take this long? Okay, I know that there's way more to it, but I'm kind of wondering now, like, yeah, okay, anyways. Blank and Blank described the male in similar manners, wearing similar clothing, leading investigators to believe all four saw the same male individual. Investigators believe the male observed by Blank and Blank is the same male depicted in the video from victim 2's phone due to the description of the male by the four females matching the male in the video. Furthermore, victim 2's video was taken at 2:13 p.m. and Blank saw only one male while she was on the trail from approximately 1:46 to 2:14. Oh my gosh, the fact that another female witnessed him on the trail right when this happened. Crazy. Investigators believe Richard Allen was the male seen by Blank and the male seen in victim 2's video. Richard Allen told investigators he was on the trail from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. that day. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store shows a vehicle that matches the description of Richard Allen's video passing at 1:27 p.m. toward the former CPS building. The clothing he told investigators he was wearing matched the clothing of the male in victim 2's video and the clothing descriptions provided by blank and blank. Everything's matching up. A vehicle matching the description of his 2016 Ford Focus is seen at or around 2:10, 2:14 p.m., and 2:28 p.m. at the former CPS building. Through his own admissions, Richard Allen walked the trails and eventually hiked the Monon High Bridge and walked out onto the Monon High Bridge. A male subject wearing Richard Allen's description, a male subject matching Richard Allen's description was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. Investigators identified other individuals on the trail or CR 300 North between 2:30 p.m. and 4:11 p.m. Investigators identified other individuals on the trails or CR. None of these individuals saw a male subject matching the description of Richard Allen's on the trail. Furthermore, Richard Allen stated that he only saw 3 girls on the trail who investigators believed to be blank. Investigators believe Richard Allen was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. because he was in the woods with victim 1 and victim 2. An unspent .40 caliber round between the bodies of victim 1 and 2 were forensically determined to have been cycled through his weapon. Was found at Richard Allen's residence and was admitting to owning it. Investigators were able to determine that he had owned it since 2001. We just read that. Had not been on the property where the unspent round was and had no explanation of the way the round cycled through the firearm to begin that would be at the location. So once again, he's denying it. Furthermore, he stated he never allowed anyone to use or borrow his weapons. Investigators believe that the victims were murdered. Richard Allen returned to his vehicle by walking down CR 300 North. Investigators believed he was seen by blank walking back to his vehicle on 300 North with clothes that were muddy and bloody. Oh my gosh, guys, when did they talk to these witnesses seeing muddy and bloody clothing? What? Along with investigators believe the statements made by the witnesses because the statements corroborate the timeline of the death, the 2 victims, as well as coincide with the admissions made by Richard Allen. Furthermore, the accounts relayed by blank and blank are similar in nature, and timestamps and photographs taken by blank correspond to the times the juvenile females said they were on the trail and saw the male individual. Sorry, it's kind of out of frame there. Whoops. Okay, that's kind of the whole thing. I will link that shortly down below. Give me just a moment. I've already exited out of it. But oh my goodness, you guys, this is okay. So the actual street that they said they saw him muddied and bloody. I have got to go to that real quick because a lot of people are saying, obviously, this whole thing kind of points to Richard Allen acting alone. And I don't know that that's the case. Okay, so hold on. I still really believe that he was potentially acting, or potentially there was someone else involved. Sorry, I'm gonna reopen this back up. So let me go to here. Wow, this is crazy. What are you guys' thoughts? I'll actually look at the chat now. I apologize for. Well, no, I mean, I said I was going to read through it. I typically go on tangents, so I stuck to my word there of just going through the entire thing. What are you guys' thoughts, though? I'm very curious. When did they talk to these people that saw somebody that was muddy and bloody? And I know they didn't say they got like a great look on his face, but wouldn't you think? And they said something about a face covering, I think. But wouldn't you think they would have done a lineup? And if they had Richard Allen that had come up so early on in the case, don't you think they would have done a lineup and been like, hey, does this look like the guy that you saw? Yeah, I think the other person involved is a ride or helped arrange the meeting. Yeah, I think 100% there's like a situation that still involves somebody else. So maybe there wasn't obviously witness testimony of another male in that area, but I don't think he acted alone. And even law enforcement doesn't seem to be on that side of things. Enough with this stuff. So, okay. Sorry. Let me find this. The road. Not seen. CR 300 North. So let me do this real quick. We're gonna go to the maps. 300 CR North. So Old State Road. Oh, wow. So they did see him on this road over here? I'm going to make this a little bit smaller for you guys. Or I'm going to zoom out to show you. So Monon High Bridge. This is where everything took place. They were down here when the video was taken. This was the down the hill direction that they went. Across Deer Creek, where some of their clothing was found, or most of their clothing was found. And then roughly right about here is where the bodies were found. Obviously, like I said earlier, I always had it in my head that this person parked at the cemetery, walked through the woods here, cut them off down here, and then was trying to get them back to the bridge, or sorry, to the cemetery. But if they're saying Old State Road 25, is that the one they're talking about? Because I've also in my head thought that this road, especially knowing where Richard Allen lives now, Richard Allen lived on Whiteman Drive, directions from here to the Monon High Bridge. No, let me exit out of that. Basically, if we measure the distance, you could go all the way down through here. This road here goes underneath where the bridge meets with the road. North 625 West. This road has always given me weird vibes. Like there was somebody parked down here, and then the down the hill would have made them go around and then down to where the road's at. And then they could have easily made it back to Richard Allen's house. It's crazy. Maybe there was somebody parked under here and no witnesses saw that vehicle. It's hard to say. All right, let me read some of your guys' comments here. I just have it pulled up on my laptop because I have other stuff pulled up over here. Okay. Leslie, I don't know that. Wow. Oh, what did Leslie say? Angela says, I think TK is next. Deanna, this is huge. Joyce, seeing how steep the hill was, I think someone else was waiting at the bottom of the hill. Yeah, I think there's a possibility of that for sure. In the Ron Logan search warrant, it said that there were no defensive wounds, so that probably because of the gun. Possibly, yeah. I can understand muddy from the trails, but bloody? Wonder if they ever asked any of the witnesses if they heard gunshots. Oh, Judy, that's a good question. I would imagine if they heard gunshots, they would have mentioned hearing them, but who knows? Did they ask him what he was wearing that day? I think they did, JDR. I think he mentioned wearing his like black and blue. I think he mentioned wearing like something similar to what the witnesses saw. Nina says, I think someone arranged to meet them at 2 and he was part of it. Black hoodie, black boots. His defense could say he was the guy. I'm wondering so bad if they have DNA. Yeah, Leslie, that's a great question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. They definitely have that shell casing, that spent shell casing or bullet. I don't know if it's considered a casing. I'm going to quickly play this video. If you guys could, we have almost 200 people in here. If you're joining late, I just got done, the first 40 minutes of this was basically reading through the probable cause affidavit, the redacted version. There are names that are obviously removed from it, but to catch you up to speed, Richard Allen, a bullet that was tested, DNA, tested forensically, was next to both of the victims' bodies, found next to both the bodies. That is the probable cause. Also, witness testimony from that day stating that they saw a guy basically fitting his description. Anyways, let's listen to this video real quick, and then we'll keep on going. But definitely tap that like button. If we could get to 100 likes, that would be fantastic. Thank you guys so much.
Court documents were just released in the Delphi murders case. Now, these were originally held back, of course, at the prosecutor's request. Well, now we are getting our first look at exactly why investigators charged Richard Allen with the murder and the deaths of Abby Williams and Libby German. This is something we've been waiting for quite a while, the first insight into years of questions about exactly what happened to these young girls. Right now, we have all of the documents with us. We are digging through them right now. I'm actually here with our senior investigative reporter, Bob Siegel, who is digging through them as well. These are redacted documents. We should make that clear. The judge making that decision not to release all of them, but to definitely give us some clues as to what happened there.
Right. Since Richard Allen was first arrested more than a month ago, this is the document that everyone has been waiting to see. It is the probable cause affidavit. That type of document links a defendant to the alleged crime that police think that person committed. So this probable cause affidavit, again, it's essentially been sealed for the last month. And just a few minutes ago, we got word that the judge had decided that this was no longer to be sealed. So we have the document, and it does pretty much walk through why police believe Richard Allen is linked to the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German.
Yeah, and so, you know, this is 12 pages long, so it's kind of a lot to go through, even though there is some redacted information that the judge requested. But the first section, Bob, it looks like it kind of lays out the scene, talks about the geography, where Abby and Libby were that day, and kind of the timing of what happened the day.
It does. I'll read a little bit here from the probable cause affidavit. It talks about victim 1 and victim 2, which we are assuming with good cause would be Abby and Libby. They were found deceased in the woods approximately 2/10 of a mile northeast of the Monon High Bridge in Carroll County, and their bodies were located on the north side of the Deer Creek. So this is information that is very consistent with what we have heard before. And then from there, it really gets into who they talked to and some of the witnesses, and then why they think that Richard Allen is linked to these murders.
Yeah, it talks a little bit about Richard Allen and his wardrobe and the vehicle that police believe he was driving that day. And of course, we have been seeing the video and at least the images from Libby German's phone for years now of the man police say did this. And this seems to connect it, at least as far as police are concerned.
So there is his voice that we have heard before, the voice of the person who they've identified and think was the killer, saying down the hill. So what we see here now in the probable cause affidavit is it says a video from victim 2's phone shows that at 2:13 p.m., and this would have been on February 13th back in 2017, it says victim 1 and victim 2 encountered a male subject on the southeast portion of the Monon High Bridge. The male ordered the girls, quote, guys, down the hill. And then it goes on to say that a male subject wearing a dark jacket and jeans was behind her. And for the first time, we're getting information here. It says, as the male subject approaches victims 1 and 2, one of the victims mentions gun. So this is the first time that we're hearing word of a firearm involved here and that we have any evidence of that. And then it goes on, some of the most interesting parts of this probable cause affidavit then go on to talk about the gun involved. It says that investigators received prior tips encountering a tip narrative from an officer who actually interviewed Richard Allen all the way back in 2017.
This is the part that like baffles me, and I know I don't want to like discredit law enforcement by any means, because you just never know like actually what the investigation has looked like from start to finish. There could be way more to it, and I think that there's way more to it, obviously. But now, like looking back on it, I'm just thinking like they had talked to these people. They had video from the Hoosier Harvest store. It's a weird name. Right there, with vehicles matching descriptions of like guns. You know, basically they have these people talking about vehicles that, when you match it up with known vehicles that Richard Allen owned, they were similar. The 2016 Ford Focus, they talked about it looking kind of like a smart car. This could pass as a smart car. They talked to Richard Allen in the beginning, and I don't want to bash them by any means, but it's like, is it one of those things they just had too many things coming in over the years and it just got lost in the mix? because it kind of sounds like that right now. And it's just like, man, it's just like one of those things. I wonder if they were just thinking like, holy cow, we could have gotten this thing wrapped up so much sooner. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't want to assume without knowing. Obviously, we're going to know more in the future. And of course, we all sit here wanting these things to be taken care of so quickly. But yeah, almost 6 years, Bobby said. It's like, they definitely have their guy. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But it's like, could they have gotten him sooner? It really seems like, yeah, Leslie, he admitted to parking there. I mean, there were so many things. He admitted to being there. He admitted to being on the bridge. And I mean, we have so many people giving this statement of kind of what this guy looked like. And then I want to know who gave the statement of the guy that was bloody and muddy and when that statement was actually given to law enforcement. You would think that maybe they would have gone back and talked to Richard Allen again one more time to see if there was anything else there. But once again, I don't want to go too far into it, but man, it's just kind of crazy to think.
Then, and I'm going to quote here from the probable cause affidavit.
Also, this is kind of a recap. I know this is kind of what we just went through, but I want to watch this video as somewhat of a recap for the people that are joining. They're kind of going through the probable cause affidavit as well. We just went through that. But yeah, this is a bit of a recap.
It says, Mr. Allen was on the trail between 1330 and 1530. So that's between 1:30 and 2:30 in the afternoon. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the New Freedom Bridge. While at the New Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was smaller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anyone, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trailhead, however, did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or video. And we then hear later that police here in this probable cause affidavit talked to some individuals who it seems like he described here that he passed walking in the woods, and they described a person who then has the clothing that is described in the probable cause affidavit and the police have released earlier.
Right. Police talk about 3 juveniles, 3 young people that say they saw Richard Allen, or they saw a person there who then turns out to match the description of Richard Allen,
yes,
walking on the trail toward Freedom Bridge. One of the girls, it says in the court documents, described to police the male as, quote, kind of creepy, and advised he was wearing blue jeans, a really light blue jacket. His hair was gray, maybe a little brown. He didn't show his face. She told police, according to court documents, that he was wearing a duck canvas type jacket, advised that she said hi to the man, but he just glared at them. He had something covering his mouth, she told investigators, and described him as being not very tall, not bigger than 5'10", said he had his hand in his pockets. And we see here, this is the video, that was the video that we
yes,
saw for years. It did show a man wearing jeans, wearing a blue jacket with
yes,
hands in his pockets.
Let's get into the part about the gun here,
yeah,
and why police believe that there is a direct link between these murders and Richard Allen.
Yeah, this was kind of the most stunning part, I think.
So in the probable cause affidavit, it says there was a .40 caliber unspent round less than 2 feet away from victim 2's body. Between victim 1 and victim 2's bodies, the round was unspent and had extraction marks on it.
Bobby, yes. So, yeah, the gun had been registered to him. It looks like he purchased the gun back in 2001. They confirmed the serial number. They confirmed everything that is registered to him. Leslie, thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Thank you for becoming a level 1 supporter. If you guys are just joining, definitely tap that like button. We're going through kind of a recap video. We went through the entire probable cause affidavit. Obviously Richard Allen is their guy. There's no question there. But is there still another person involved? I'm going to probably put a poll up right now to see what you guys think. Do you still think someone else is involved in this. I do personally. I'm curious what people think now, knowing that there are witnesses there that didn't see anyone else. But then again, were they looking in the right places? Was there somebody parked underneath the bridge on this road right here that could have easily been there waiting to take them away or be a getaway car or whatever the case may be? I'm going to put a poll up in a moment. Thanks for everyone for being here. Once again, we're just kind of recapping with this video. It's going through a lot of the stuff that we've already talked about. But yeah, thanks again.
So as we move a few pages further in the probable cause affidavit, they sent the ballistics off to the Indiana State Police Crime Lab. And see if I can find this section here. It says the laboratory determined the unspent round located within 2 feet of victim 2's body had been cycled through Richard M. Allen's Sig Sauer model P226. And the laboratory remarked an identification opinion is reached when the evidence exhibits an agreement of class characteristics. It gets into some of the details there, but the bottom line is it goes on to say that Richard Allen spoke with investigators, stated that he never allowed anyone to use or borrow that particular firearm. When asked about the unspent bullet, he did not have an explanation of why the bullet was found between the bodies of the victims, and he again admitted he was on the trail, but he denied knowing victim 1 or victim 2 and denied any involvement in their murders. So the idea here that you have a bullet that was specifically matched to his gun found so close to the bodies, that certainly establishes what would be considered probable cause for why police decided they were charging Mr. Allen with 2 counts of murder.
So to whoever just asked someone about the probable cause kidnapping, no, it is what they just said there. The spent or the unspent bullet that they tested forensically that had cycled through a gun that was registered to Richard Allen that they ended up finding back in October of this year when they went through his house. I saw some comments of some people saying that they believe they also dug up his old cat that maybe died back in 2018. There's a possibility that they found hair on the crime scene or on some of the girls' clothing. I know a lot of the clothing was found on the river, I believe, or in the river, the Deer Creek or whatever that runs right there. But I imagine if they found animal hair, which we had also heard of through all of this, potentially animal hair being on the scene, they probably did dig up one of his past animals, even if it had passed, to identify or confirm that it could even be tied to Richard, even more than just the weapon that they were testing at that time. So if for some reason there was animal hair that was on one of the girls that had just transferred from him, for example, I know I don't personally have animals I don't have any animals, but you guys know that do have animals that shed. The hair is sometimes on your jacket. You go over to a friend's house and you lay your jacket down on their couch. That animal hair can easily transfer onto their couch, so on and so forth. It'd be really interesting to know if that was the case, if they were able to confirm through a cat or an animal of some sort that it was Richard Allen's as well. Does he still own that car, Silo? I don't know. They do talk about that earlier, though, that he owned at the time, I believe, the 2013 Ford Fiesta, and that kind of matches the description of the car that was parked nearby as well. We're going to watch the rest of this video, and then we'll go through some of your guys' comments.
And, you know, as we go through all of this, we also have to be mindful. This has got to be difficult for the girls' families. We're talking about details now that, granted, they have been waiting for, and so many community members have been waiting for. But this has to be difficult for the families to hear, too, knowing what police allege happened that day. Absolutely. I mean, it's been more than 5.5 years since what would be described as just absolutely unthinkable. These, you know, 2 friends, you know, walking onto the Monon High Bridge and, you know, going out to spend a warm February afternoon, you know, out in nature, and what happened from that. So, again, so many questions over the last 5.5 years. This document, again, for the first time, gives the families and it gives the public some idea, certainly more idea of what happened that day, and specifically
why they believe Richard Allen is linked to these murders.
And again, this is a 12-page document, and we were just kind of going through it as well. We'll have lots of information for you on WTHR.com and later on 13 News at 5. But Bob, seems like the takeaways here, at least what police are alleging as far as the connection for Richard Allen, they talk about the clothing he was wearing, the car he was driving, young people who were interviewed who kind of witnessed the car and a man matching that description, and then a description of a gun that he owned and admitted that no one else borrowed or used, and a bullet from that gun, police allege, was found near the girls' bodies that day.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's basically it. That's the recap, the probable cause affidavit. Cheryl, I see your comment now. Motive, not talking about the probable cause being kidnapping, but motive. Yeah, motive, we have no idea yet. It's too early to determine. We don't even know if there are other people involved at this point. I know that there are so many people that still think, and 52% of you or 54% of you that voted think that there is somebody else involved besides Richard Allen. But if you guys remember, the Kleins, Kagan Klein, sitting in jail for what he's sitting in jail for right now. We're not going to go into all of those counts. The timing of this is strange, and a lot of people think that Kagan Klein maybe turned over on Richard Allen and gave information that led to this, or maybe the timing of all this is just too. It's a weird coincidence. Maybe because it sounds like they just went back in some of their earlier investigations, early in the investigation and some of their early, witness testimonies, things like that. And then maybe the timing of it was just that this guy came forward and they're like, oh crap, here he is. Or maybe Kagan said some things that knew something, he may have known some things. Bobby says Kagan was just trying to strike a deal. Well, that's another thing. Maybe he knew having them search the river. I mean, who knows? We don't know. Kagan may know something that we don't know, or may know more about this. I believe that this was a bigger thing. There's clearly some sort of a motive. You don't just walk outside your house, go to this trail, go to a place like this, kind of not remote, but this is clearly like a targeted. There's got to be some sort of motive behind it. He had a chambered bullet. Chambered, and he racked the slide. Is that how that's how the bullet would have come out. Thank you, Bobby. It seems like premeditated to some degree. There's some sort of motive there for him to go out and do this. So what that motive is, who knows? I know reports say the wife is standing by her husband, but deep down, does she really think he is innocent? Leslie, no way. I mean, I can't imagine, obviously there's so many instances like this where somebody does something horrific and their family obviously stands by them. It would be hard to put myself in those shoes to assume like if my family member did something horrific. But if it came out that I found out that my dad, like for example, or somebody I knew very closely, like was tied up in something like this, it would be almost impossible to shake that feeling of like just pure disgust, there'd be like no way I could either, Joyce. But then again, I've never had to deal with anything like that. And what if she truly thinks he's innocent? I don't know. There's some crazy manipulation that could have been going on within that household too. Who knows? But I haven't seen that either. So Leslie is the one who's saying that. I'm very curious where you heard that. But that is very interesting. Teddy was manipulative to the end. The only thing learned from Bundy is that men like him never tell the truth. I think there's a ring possibly. Yeah, that's another thing, Alicia. That a lot of people have thought that since the beginning, just because of the Kagan Klein stuff and because of the Anthony Schatz profile and all of the stuff that was tied to that. It got people kind of thinking of a potential ring, but. And I still do believe that, but who knows? I mean, gosh, that's crazy. I just want to know how it took this long. Now that I've read through the entire thing, and they had what they had in terms of witness reports of the car being parked, somebody muddy and bloody walking back on this road back to his car. It's just like crazy. I'd like to see the full video of the guy on the bridge. Do you think they will release it? I mean, possibly at some point they'll release it. I mean, it sounds like they stated exactly what happened in the full video. It's just a matter of time, I'm sure, before more of the stuff comes out, more details. But I'm right there with you, Darla. I would absolutely love to. His defense said it in the interview from last court hearing. Oh, thank you, Leslie. There's got to be a ring for sure. Nothing else makes sense. There are 30-something RSOs in the area. Does this button still work? Oh, it does. Your guys' comments come up still. I don't know where I'm at, though. Hold on. Come on. Pull up. Oh, no, that's not me. Okay. Well, I'm not going to show that screen now. But yeah, anyways, at trial they will. Oh yeah, Bobby, of course, at trial they're going to show all the different pieces of evidence that they have. It'll be really interesting to see how high profile this trial is, you know, how much of it's going to be documented and released like live as opposed to things coming out after the fact. He posed Abby's body standing up against a tree. Interesting silo. He probably posed them and took pictures or something else for somebody else. Possibly. Hard to say. How else would there be so many of them that have connections in that area? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's another thing. It's like we've talked about this in previous streams. SOs, when you look at offenders in cities, I mean, you can just look up the list and it will haunt you to realize how many people are registered offenders in just some of these small towns in America. I mean, Delphi is a town that is, I don't know, how many people? 5,000? What's the population? 2,800 in 2010. So less than 5,000 probably now, even if it's doubled. It's probably not much more. And so, yeah, to think that there could even be 30 in this small town, if that's what someone was saying, it doesn't surprise me at all. No cameras allowed by Indiana law. Oh, in the courtroom? Okay, interesting. Alice says 3,000. Yeah, I'm sure it probably wasn't too much more than from 2010, but was unregistered. Oh, geez, Coffee Buzz. Yeah, that's crazy. All right, let's just see if there's anything else. But that was the probable cause affidavit. Pretty nuts. Apparently was driving, or he owned a 2016 Ford Focus. This is the gun that they found the bullet for. A Sig Sauer P226. It looks so much, and this is kind of what I went through earlier. It looks so much like the same shape as this gun right here. I mean, so much like the same shape in his pocket. I always thought it looked like he had a gun on him. And I mean, look at the curve right here, like the shadowing right here. That is the exact same curve right back behind here. So strange. I mean, it's not strange at all, but my guess would be they'll not release the whole video as it could involve violence or be too traumatizing to the families. I'm not sure at this point what relevance it would have other than court. Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be a while before any true like details like that come out for sure. I'm just curious if like in that video you can see more of like the road beneath it, things like that. Because I just, in my head, I'm thinking like there's somebody parked down there, right? Because that, you have to assume, if he was parked that far away, like look at the map. This is getting me thinking more. Map time. If he's parked out here, closer to this old State Road 25 or West 300 right here where they said, if he went over the Freedom Bridge and then entered the Monon High Bridge and then ended up all the way down here with the girls, how would he have expected, if kidnapping was the intention, or at least that was what he was in the process of doing when this took place, if that's what they're saying, how on God's green earth are you going to get two girls on a populated bridge where there are other witnesses that could see them? How are you going to get them back either onto the bridge, heading back to where you parked, past potential witnesses, past the actual entrance or the Freedom Bridge that crosses the highway, and then back to wherever your car would be? That's like, I mean, already right there, that's 5,054 feet. That's almost a mile, right? 5,280 feet in a mile. I mean, how are you going to control two young women, young girls, that could easily start putting up a fight? I mean, clearly in my head, I think something went south, and I've always said that. He was trying to get them somewhere down the hill, and it turned south very quickly, and he ended up having to kill them. But I think parked at the old CPS building. Thank you, Alice. Where is that? I thought that was like, where is that? Is that over here? Is it just not here anymore? It's been a while since I've... Alice, let me know exactly where that's at if you... Here, I'm sure I could do a bit of Googling. Here, hold on. Old CPS building, Delphi. Excuse me. I think there's more to the old CPS. Oh, what's this? Reddit. Ah, this 2 years ago, this Reddit post says, is that the old CPS building right here? Did it get tore down? Is that it there? Oh, that looks like it there. Well, I don't know. This person says, law enforcement has kept a lot of information private. I believe this old CPS building has a key role in the investigation. Whoa, this person called it. It sounds like they knew about the car. The building was abandoned, not the vehicle. I think it was described as a vehicle, not a car. Anyways, regardless, the old CPS building is not down here, is kind of what I'm saying. And so, at least I don't think it's down here. It could be wrong. But it's like, clearly, if he wanted them to go down the hill and then what? Trek through the bottom of the river all the way down away from the actual bridge and then like cut up to where his vehicle would be? Like, none of that makes any sense at all. So the only thing that makes sense to me is that a car would be right here on the road that's underneath the trees. And then they dip out this way through this road that so conveniently goes all the way down to this road that so conveniently goes all the way to his address. There it is. Look at that. Get on this road right underneath the bridge. There's the bridge. Down the hill. Maybe someone's waiting or supposed to be waiting down here. Gets in the car. And boom, you're back. Not that he would take them back to his house. Who knows? I don't know if his wife was home at this time. I have no idea. Ray, I know they said he had 2 cars, but I don't know if there was someone else working in tandem, right, with him. But crazy. It just does not make sense to me that he would be trying to usher them back to his car, unless the entire motive was to kill them and to do something to them at this scene. I mean, the bodies ended up somewhere right over here, away from where the video was taken. Someone else was talking about land. Maybe that guy owned the property, let someone use his... Maybe the guy that owned the property let someone use his access. Yeah, I don't know. Richard Allen is the one who owned the actual piece of property right here that was... the girls were ultimately found on. They were found right on the edge of his property. We went over that in previous videos. But anyways, so are you saying he marched them at gunpoint all the way and no one saw them? No, I'm not saying that at all, PJ. That's what I'm saying probably wouldn't happen. I don't think there's no way he could march them back on the bridge at gunpoint without anyone seeing them. That's exactly what I'm saying, is that wouldn't make sense. So the thing that would make sense to me is them being on the bridge alone, him cornering them and telling them, hey, down the hill. One of the girls clearly mentioned in the affidavit gun, maybe seeing a gun in his pocket, or he pulled it out and showed it. And then, like I said, things went south from there. But I don't believe that they would have been able to do that. Alice, then he walked through the graveyard to get back to his car. I mean, even... Oh, did he? Did he walk through the graveyard to get back to his car? Oh, is this where he would have actually walked out? And then he would have been on West 300 North, and this is where they would have seen him bloody? So not actually on the trail? Was he walking along this part of the road? Thanks for pointing that out, Alice. I didn't know if they were referring to this road right here, West North 300 over here. Huh. Appreciate that. Crazy. So much to go through. I mean, it's going to take some time. Thank you, Alice. I appreciate that. Obviously, it's going to take some time. I had no idea that they were going to be releasing this so soon. Obviously, the 22nd, last week, whenever that was, 9 days ago, was his super brief court appearance that I totally missed because of the time zone. I didn't realize Delphi was on East Coast time zone. Very strange. But I had no idea that we'd be going through this today. So thank you guys for being here. I think I'm going to call it because it's 5 o'clock and I still have some work to get done. Yeah, for those of you who are unaware and you are new to the channel, I make videos here every so often. I used to do it a lot more, but now that I am wrapping up the current project that I'm working on, I plan to continue to do more content like this. If you liked this video and you would want to consider subscribing to be notified for future videos, please consider doing so. We are all over the place when it comes to subscribers nowadays. We're still over 27,000, so feel free to subscribe if you'd like to join. Thank you, Leslie, for being a member. All of that is very helpful. I put all of the funds on this channel towards my personal projects. Currently, I am wrapping up a documentary on a double homicide that took place in Kansas. So that will be coming out very soon. I'm going to be dropping the trailer likely here on this channel. So you guys are going to be able to see it first and foremost. And it will hopefully be out early 2023, like January, maybe February at the latest is when the documentary will come out. So in the meantime, I plan to continue doing live streams here on the channel following this case and some of the others, and future cases. I might jump into the Idaho murders later this week and kind of go through that, just because I haven't really dove in on that yet, and that's one that's just absolutely blowing a lot of people's minds. So yeah, feel free to subscribe. I appreciate you guys popping by. I hope you guys have a good Tuesday. If you haven't already, hit the like button on the way out. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you report more on the Idaho 4. Yeah, Deanna, in fact, you know what? I'm going to. I haven't done any videos on Idaho. In fact, I'll probably do it Thursday. Tomorrow I'll be working fully all day on the dock. I'll probably do some sort of mega stream, like a 2-hour video where I go through just a bunch of stuff on the Idaho video or on the Idaho case, because I've done nothing on it. And it's one of those that a lot of people are really into, and they want to figure out what the heck is going on. And so I'll probably do that Thursday. So look out for that potentially Thursday. And yeah, thank you guys for coming by. We'll see you guys in the next one.